find absolutely no reason why anyone would think you crazy if you describe this meeting of ours.
You're feeling very sleepy, very relaxed.
Alex Trebek, the game show host?
Well. We are back again, and we should be, hopefully, if I have it correct, we should be cooking by gas. We should be live, right? Only been doing it for what? Hey, 5 years? Still don't know what I'm doing. Shock horror. Yeah, it's one of these things. It doesn't matter how many times you do it. You still begin to lose your place. Like, what do I do again? Is that just me? Just me. Of course, just me. So, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are in this absolutely insane world that we live in. Holy moly! Where do you even begin? At the beginning. Yeah, the beginning. The beginning. Where is that? Anybody? Answers on a postcard. I know who'll know on YouTube chat. Ulick McGee. He'll know. He's old enough to know when the beginning began. When the beginning began? Anyway, we are back again. And I can see there's a few people in. What I'm going to try and do is speed it along. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes, right? It's the old saying, more hurry, less speed. Did anybody get told that as growing up? I was thinking earlier on, honestly, kids, man. Look, don't have kids, whatever you do. Don't do it. I was thinking, when I was growing up, I remember my dad saying to me quite often that children should be seen and not heard. And I mean, yeah, when I was young, I used to think, nah, that's not right. That's not fair. And of course, many years later, 3 kids later, it's, yeah, maybe he's got a point. Maybe he's got a point, right? So we're back again. A short intro, a short X-Files intro. And I was actually watching it the other night. It was quite a good one. I think it's season 4 or the beginning of season 5. So it's last in season 4. What one was it? I think last in season 4. And it was good. It was quite funny. It shows how my sort of sick, black, twisted sense of humor. Because it's the one where Fox Mulder, Agent Mulder, he's this wacky conspiracy theory dude. Anyway, he basically, Mulder's on this quest constantly. There's aliens, E.T., looking for the E.T. that kidnapped his sister. And he's adamant that there's E.T. and alien, and he's seen this and he's seen that. And then a guy comes along from the Department of Defense and says, hey, by the way, it's all a big deception. It's complete deception. Yeah, but I've seen aliens. Yeah, but we made you see it. We wanted you to see it. We put it there so you could see it. And he's a bit like, can't believe it. Can't believe this whole he's basically been a pawn in a game, and what he's seen is to deceive him. And I thought, ain't that kind of fitting? Ain't that a kind of, yeah, it's like a feeling we can relate to. Constantly deceived at each and every turn. Shock horror. So we're back again. I want to kind of, where did we get to? We got to, in part 1 and 2, we basically looked at eyewitness accounts, a few other details, in particular eyewitness account. Several eyewitness accounts obviously talking about potentially a missile. Shock horror. A horrible noise, remember? Couldn't work out what it was. A big streak of light. Then an explosion. And one of the guys, remember he said, "Oh, I just heard this plane and I ducked down." So we had the guy that was ducking down because he heard a plane. Huh? Yeah, okay. Strange, but there you go. So we covered quite a bit of that. We heard from several other kind of characters in this gigantic saga that is Lockerbie. And one of them said, "Look, we'll never get to the bottom of it. We'll never get to the truth." Shock horror. We talked about the security breach at Heathrow Airport the night before. What happened there? Some people say, well, a bomb got put on at Heathrow. Wait a minute, I thought it was Malta. Yeah, maybe it was Heathrow. Or was there anything put on at Heathrow? It's kind of anybody's guess there. Was there? Why was there a security breach? What exactly happened? We talked about the CCTV, or in particular, no CCTV, none whatsoever. And I think overall, kind of, again, where we got to in part 2, I think beyond any doubt whatsoever is the fact that the official story to Lockerbie is simply not true. It is simply not true, man. It is filled with so much hole, and I shouldn't laugh, but it's that bad. It's so bad, man. And that's just in terms of the plane, Lockerbie, the explosion. And then you kind of get into the whole Libya, Gaddafi, Obama, Tony Blair. And I mean, this is part of a gigantic kind of hidden workings of the world that started way back before Lockerbie, and it's still going on today. Lockerbie was just, in the grand scale of it, a small part of a what would appear to be a bigger plan that would tie in with the whole one world order. I was listening to one of Bill Cooper episodes hour at the time, and he was I think it was from 1998, and he was talking about, they want a new world order, one world government order by the year 2000. I think there already was, even when in 1998, there already was. It's always been there. The thing is, it's becoming a lot more clearer, a lot more visible, a lot more in your face, in the open, to the point where it's right in your face now. Kicking you in the stones, man. That's how close it is. So, and I hear that quite a lot, even today and in the past. The main goal is to get a one world this and a one world that. It's already there. It's pretty much everything is already there, man. The question is, can you see it or can you not? Right? And you'll see, I put the post on YouTube you'll notice that Tony Blair and Gaddafi shaking hands. Oh, let me see if I can show you it here quick. So there you go. You might have seen it. If you were looking right, he's shaking hands. And of course, it's a Masonic grip, a Masonic handshake. And Gaddafi, I mean, you would be hard pushed to say that Gaddafi was not somehow part of this one world orchestra. How much of a part is the question? I'm still unsure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do not think in any way that Gaddafi is a guy that you would be trusting. But then again, I don't think there's any political leader in history that I would trust. I mean, it would be the last person that I would trust. So Gaddafi, I mean, not a good guy. Tony Blair, not a good guy. Barack Obama, not a good guy. Are they all in the same team? I think probably at one point. In terms of Gaddafi, I mean, Tony Blair and Obama, most definitely. The UK and America, at least up until this point. But Gaddafi, I think they used and abused Gaddafi well and truly and made an absolute example out of him. That is if it is to be believed in terms of the official story about what happened to Gaddafi. Oh, he got chased down and beat and shot and what have you. Can I prove that that's actually true? Probably not. But going by the official narrative, at least, it looks like Gaddafi was an ideal character to be lured in and then completely and utterly fucking trampled over, walked over. And there's many things that point to that. I mean, when you're coming up against the absolute evil of America and the UK, oh man, if you double cross them, then I think that's what we've seen. I think we've seen a bit of double crossing going on at some point, and Gaddafi paid, well, the ultimate price. The ultimate price. But Gaddafi, I mean, we will be talking about him, but him alone is probably, he would merit live streams, a series of streams on its own. But I can tell you right now, it would be so grim. So grim. But it would not take you long to do a quick bit of research on Gaddafi, and you'll you'll see that was not a nice guy. That was a seriously evil entity. About, well, on par with Blair, without a doubt. So I reckon at one point they probably were. But of course, nobody gets in the way of the agenda. Nobody's bigger than it. No nation. Nobody. And we've seen that. I think that's what happened to Libya. Unfortunately for the Libyan people. But then again, hey, maybe some of them are better off. Who would actually know? So there's the whole Gaddafi, Libya, oil, Obama side of it. And then, of course, Lockerbie itself with the crash, the bomb, the crash site. Was there a bomb? Was it a missile? Kind of on the fence with that currently. I still cannot rule out. I'm hoping to kind of rule out a missile, but I can't. Even going by what we've looked at already, I could not rule it out. It would be a mistake to rule it out currently. And in terms of my own research with Lockerbie, it's only been recent. I mean, I've known about it and I knew it was dodgy as hell. Probably avoided it, to be honest, because it's so It is so bad, man. So messed up and just so much corruption and deception and every turn a lie. So much, man. And we'll get into that a wee bit more tonight. We'll hear from another character who played quite a, well, I don't know if you would call it a big role, but he was in the Scottish government and his name's Kenny McCaskill. But what he said is quite interesting. And up until the other day, it was unknown to me. I did not know. And it hadn't even crossed my mind either. And if it is true, which it might be, then again, that would give you a wee bit of insight into the type of people in relation to Gaddafi and what he might have done in regards to a bit of trickery, a bit of deception, if you like. And some people might have heard, but it was news to me. So I've been kind of neck deep in Lockerbie, if you pardon the pun. And I reckon what I thought was if we can kind of conclude it tonight for the time being, it gives it a straight off the bat run of part 1, 2, and 3. And then we move into NASA Mooned America, which is going to be, it's going to be great. Honestly, it's quite comical. And I still get angry though. I'm not even American. And I still get angry at NASA. Yeah, you'd think, why is he bothered about NASA? He's not even American, but they're tricking everybody. Hey, we're all victims of the agenda. That is for sure. So we'll quickly say hello. Was that my door I heard? Or my dog? I'm unsure. I'm unsure. My wife's she's out doing photography. She's quite a good, well, she is. Hopefully she's not listening. She's really good at photography. She is great. And she's I think it's a whiskey testing. I mean, that's right up my street. I should have been there too. So we're on the coffee instead. So she's there. So I don't know. Maybe it's me getting arrested. We heard what you said about Blair and Obama. Barack Obama. So Ross is in the hood. Good to see you, Ross. Let's roll. Flight 93. Ulix here. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Our Irish American brother in the hood. Richard, good to see you. Our Scottish brother, Rich in the hood, back again. I hope you're doing well. Oh, Arms is here. Good to see you, Arms. I think just finished list. Well, perfect, right? Just finished it, and now part 3. So that's good timing. You can send me the check later, right? Good to see you, Arms, and you made it live tonight, which is great. Ross, Rebecca in the hood. Good to see you, Rebecca. What did Ross say? I was 7 when Lockerbie happened. I remember it on the telly, but wasn't aware of what was going on in the world at all at that age. Yeah, same. Although I was only 1. I was only 1 at the time, so yeah, it was all downhill from there, put it that way. It was all downhill, and here we are today, right? Cheers for sharing, Ross. Yeah, so you're at least, 6? So you'll be, 40, mid-40s, possibly? You can tell I'm good at mathematics, right? Get 'em off! Man, we've got plenty to go through yet, and I'm here all week, so all good. Good to see you, Ross, Richard, Rebecca. Nice to see you, Rebecca, Richard. Oh, Kieran's in the hood. You'd fight with your shot, and I'd still lose. So there you go. Good to see you, Kieran. I hope you're doing well. What happens in the hood? Where did he go? There you go. What happens? I don't know. You tell me. What happens, right? Good to see you. Wit is a word that gets used in Scotland quite a lot. Wit. It's usually in that type of fashion, right? Wit. Yeah, it's a bit like that. What? It's natural for Scottish. Of course, it means what, but we say wit because we're the best, right? Good to see you. What happens? And you like less of the American. Well, you'll be dual citizen. What is it? Dual citizenship. Have you applied for your American? You'll be an illegal immigrant. Hey, I better not say much. Maybe Ulick's not got his papers right. You'll be getting a knock on the door now. I do apologise, Ulick. Joni can put you in the dungeon for a couple of days until the heat's gone. Unless, well, yeah, Aberdeen say fit. Fitman. Fit. Do we say that? We do a wee bit here. In the villages round about, it tends to get used. See, Elgin's weird, man, because, well, in many ways, but it's kind of in between. It's in between two bigger cities. So you've got Aberdeen to the east and Inverness to the west. And Elgin's like stuck, piggy in the middle. So usually people will say, "Oh, I think he's from Aberdeen," and I'm like, "Did you say what?" And it's like, "Nah, mate, come on, don't offend me in such a way." Oh, he's from Inverness. What the? Even worse. Don't go there. Don't say that to a lad or lassie from Murrayshire, right? Don't say it. So it's good to see everyone. Ross in the hood. 44 this year. Ross. Cracking on, man. Cracking on. Cracking on. So, is there anybody that I missed quickly? I think we're all good. I'll try and keep an eye on the chat. I'm hoping maybe we can get an audio check before we jump into it because I've kind of got, well, yeah, it kind of made sense. I had like 4 different clips I wanted to show. So it was like, oh man, I'm going to have to screen share, then stop, then share, then stop. And I thought, fuck it, get them all, string it all together, and then just show it as one and kind of stop in between. So we're learning as we go. We're like AI, man. He said it. I better not have said that. I told you he was an AI bot. He's fucking AI learning now. So that's common practice, isn't it? Defending myself now. You learn as you go. You learn on the job. So that's what we're doing. So we'll begin with the video. We'll look at that. It's a combination of 3 or 4, covers quite a bit. I'm kind of hoping we're gonna get under 2 hours today. Oh, and someone on Telegram. Good evening to them if you're there. I think a gentleman on Telegram who watched part 1 and part 2 and then put it together. So fucking hell, right? 6 hours. I don't know. Hey, God bless anybody who sits through that. Bigging myself up now. But yeah, fair play. I don't know how they managed to put them to. That's 2 gigantic streams. You would need some kind of supercomputer to store it and then splice it together. So yeah, good on that person, and hopefully you can catch part 3. Because I am on Telegram, and I do share quite a bit. And we should be actually on Twitter tonight as well. We've not been for I don't know, ages, so it'll be ghost town, just tumbleweed, which is the case anyway, right? Let's face it. Let's not beat about the bush. Anybody else quickly? Oh, Joni in the hood, good to see you. Listening, well, that's a start. So you're on the right track. I'll give you that. Good to see Joni, our American sister in the hood. So we're all good. Good to see you. I'll try and keep an eye. I'll do my best. But we'll begin. We will now begin the proceedings, right? We've said hello. We've talked about, I don't know, what else? What else? X-Files, possibly. Yeah, that was funny. And I forgot to say as well, when Mulder got told, oh, it's just been a complete lie, he was like, sitting in his room watching Carl Sagan talking about alien life and crying. Oh, fucking hell. Sitting there crying, bubbling his eyes out. Ah, no, E.T. must be real. So he kind of hit rock bottom, and then kind of spoiler alert, I guess, but hey, it was in the 90s it came out. So some guy tries to come and kill Agent Mulder after this happened, and he's crying, and then basically Mulder shoots the guy, and they think it's Mulder that's dead, and it's not. And he gets Scully to say, "Yeah, that's him," but it's somebody that's had their face blown off. So they think Mulder's dead for a wee bit, but he's not dead. He's kind of on the run. Where did I get to? I think maybe 1 or 2 in season 5. And there's a lot of alien stuff, which I don't know. It is what it is, but it's still interesting. I still watch it, so we might cover that a wee bit in the near future. Let me see if I can. Did we get an audio check? Because I'm on a completely different setup tonight. So yikes. I think we should be all right. I did kind of try, and I thought, fuck it, that'll do. What the heck, right? Just go with it. But I think we're all good in the hood. We're all good. Can't hear you, so yeah, that definitely helps. Kieran, yeah, okay. I'll take your word for it. Ulick, can I trust Ulick? Probably. We'll go with it, right? So let me see if I can share. Hopefully everybody's doing all right. The weekend has indeed landed, has it? Seemingly it's Friday, so yeah. When will the Friday fix return? Cliffhanger. When will it be? Possibly soon. Possibly. Nobody's been asking, so hey, maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. I think it will be. It will be coming back in the spring, I think. I'll speak to my producer, right? I'll speak to my producer and my script writer. What one would it be? The 21st of February. How do people say the word February? 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 Let's not go there. Let's not go there, right? Let's expand the mind. The screen even. That'll probably be better. So can we name all the puppets there? I mean, you can recognize Barack Obama, right? Look at the shape of Obama. I mean, I don't know. His hair looks like it got painted on or like drawn on. You know, like I don't know, a cartoon character, a Lego man. He's the diversity Lego man. Barack Obama. I mean, where do you start with that guy, man? Honestly, Jesus. And do you know what? People think that he's American. He's not even American. It's quite comical. And seemingly an American, if you're not an American, you can't be president. I mean, how far gone is the world that we're in, man? Honestly, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's off the charts, right? And it has been for my lifetime at least. And I was born in 1987, so I'm told. I can't recall it, but hey, I'll take their word for it, right? You've got to trust something at least. So Yeah. Do you see it getting any better? Probably not. Probably not. Could it get worse? I would not rule that out. I would not rule it out. I mean, thinking back to 2020, we thought that was quite bad. Are we going to see worse than the whole show that entailed 2020, 2021, 2022? I don't know. Who knows, right? Answers on a postcard. And of course, Gaddafi, yeah. I mean, again, do you know, it's weird, man. I get some people, and I don't know what it is, right? It's my just suspicion and conspiratorial brain. I look at right. Gaddafi's one of them. Gaddafi's one, and Nixon is another one. And I look at these people, and it's like it's not them. It's so hard to describe, man. Honestly, it's a bit. I guess you could say it was a bit like putting the glasses on and they live. And some pictures of Gaddafi in video, I look at him and it's like someone wearing a mask in the eyes of another person behind his face. And I got that feeling as well one time watching a video of the guy Nixon, President Nixon, and it creeped me out, man. It's weird. I don't know what it is. And it's something that I kind of feel is a natural gut instinct feeling that something's not quite right. I mean, I could be way off the mark. I could be way off the mark, but honestly, it's just we'll keep an eye on them. And of course, Tony Blair, oh man, another satanic, Masonic, Fabian Society, absolute criminal. Honestly, Jesus. How much years would you put him in jail for? Excuse me. I mean, you would throw away the key, right? You would melt the key. And to be honest, if it was up to me, he would not see the light of day. He wouldn't. And if I was American, like Ulick, I would be saying the same about Barack Obama. Gaddafi, I mean, yeah, he sold the Libyan people out. Most definitely. I mean, this is a constant right across the board, man. Right across the board. We get sold out. We do. And the worst of it all is it's by our own people, man. Although Barack Obama, an exception because he wasn't even American. But it's by our own people. They sell us out time and time again. And it's not just the UK, America, Libya. It's the whole of Africa, man. Sold out by these fucking opportunists. Similar to what Gaddafi was. And I think Gaddafi might have thought he was a bit bigger than he actually was. Because when you come up against the powers that be, there's only going to be one winner, and it would not matter who you were. Fucking Xi Jinping, Putin, the Rocket Man, you name it. It would not matter. They will smoke you out one way or another. Guaranteed, man. Guaranteed. They'll have you gone before the fucking week's done, man. Once they've used and abused, this particular individual, then they'll just do away with you completely. They done that to Gaddafi, and we've seen that. We've seen it when you look over it as well. They Libya, Lockerbie happened. Look, we'll give you McGrahy. Let's do a deal in the desert. Shake the hand, sign the contract. In walks BP, Shell. And of course, once they get their claws in, that's it. Don't need Gaddafi anymore. He's done, he's finished. And BP, the oil was already being pumped out by BP and Shell. And even the oil situation is just a small part of it. It's such a gigantic web of just horrendous events and deception, man. But that is the world that we're in. And hey, we don't kid ourselves. We find happiness as much as we can. But in terms of these entities, we're not fooled, man. They don't fool us. And of course, there's one guy in the middle there, in between Gaddafi and Satanic Blair, and that is Kenny McCaskill. And he was the Scottish secretary at the time of Gaddafi, McGrahy. And he was the guy that came out and said, oh, we're going to release McGrahy on compassionate grounds because cancer, right? He's got 3 months to live. Yeah. And of course, he lived for 3 years, 4 maybe. And it's like, okay. But Kenny McCaskill, it's like the only thing that he's known for is letting McGrahy out. And it caused quite a stir, even in Scotland, I think, for a lot of people. And the guy McCaskill, he's wrote a book about it, which I kind of think, fuck, come on, man. Honestly. He wrote a book about Lockerbie. And it's like, nah. I mean, I can understand. Talk about an opportunist, man. And that'll give us an insight as to his character. Because for me, that's a fucking no-go, that, man. And I can understand, fair enough, if you had a family member in Lockerbie or the plane or connected, okay, yeah, you wrote a book. I get it. But a member of the government at the time who let McGrahy out, fuck off, man. Honestly, the brass neck of the guy McCaskill. So, and I mean, I do have to point out how much you can believe from any of these characters here. I do not know. We can only take it with a pinch of salt and see where we get to. But I wouldn't. I would lean towards not trusting fucking any of them. Let's be honest. Even the guy McCaskill. And I'm going to try not to swear, but the boat sailed, right? The boat sailed. So there it goes. Because it's a family show. To be honest, it's not. It would be probably deemed triple X. Quadruple X, probably. You're all right. I'm not putting my camera on and letting you in for a special treat. But because of the world we're in today, the topic would be deemed, I don't know, extreme, graphic, and a trigger. It'll trigger the sheeple. Good. So it would be deemed, I mean, yeah, it's probably, I mean, it goes without saying here, but it's never made for a younger audience. So, I mean, I doubt we get a young audience anyway. It's been years since I've looked at you get the stats for that. And if I can remember correctly, when I'm sure the last time I looked, there was nobody under the age of, I think, 25 who watched. So that's good because, I mean, even at 25, I was a complete and utter idiot, man. Absolute idiot. I'm not saying every 25-year-old is, but I was. And I can remember by the time I was about 23, I thought I knew it all, man. thought I knew the fucking lot. Seen it, been it, bought the t-shirt. You know, this kind of attitude where you've seen it all, done it all. Little did I know. Little did I know. And even since then, the amount that I've kind of learned and progressed, I still know absolutely jack shit. Zilch. Get 'em off. Is that me totally selling myself? Maybe I should make that as a trailer for the channel. What did I see as well? I seen a comment on I think it was Facebook. Someone had shared I think it was the first Lockerbie stream, and the guy was he was like trying to take the piss, saying, "Oh, what, a YouTube expert? This is what happened," and blah blah blah. And I find that quite funny. I really do, because hey, I've never claimed to be an expert at anything whatsoever, and I say that. So there's no there's no look, I'm the expert, I'm the top researcher, none of that. I mean, even in terms of research, journalism, historical research, very basic, man, very basic. And I've always said that. I mean, we do learn as we go, like I said, but what we like to do is go over, similar to Lockerbie tonight, go over any evidence, go over what's already occurred, and then make an observation from there. And you don't have to be an expert at anything to know when you're being lied to, man. You don't. You simply have to be a human. So, is there any of them out there? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. So we're gonna get into it. I better put on my headphones, and I've got these stupid bloody things that pop out my ear. Not them pods. It's an actual cable, but it's annoying, man. And I have to push them right in, and I feel like I can't hear myself. So we can't win. I'm going to be shouting now. You know, when someone's got headphones in, listening to loud music, and they shout. Just me again, probably. So I tend not to wear. I mean, I have got bigger ones, but I don't know where they are. I tend not to wear headphones. I'm not a big fan of them, but I think it's a good idea for this occasion. So I'll try and keep an eye on the chat, and we'll see where we get into. So let me see. I think the first of all, yeah, the Al Jazeera. It's an Al Jazeera newsreel, and kind of an update on McGrahy getting released. And some of you'll see the image on the screen. People, I can remember that. That would have been in 2009. I can remember that. And you know, thinking back, I think that's round about the time where I began to get politically kind of active. In particular on independence for Scotland. It was kind of my only focus, to be honest. I wanted out of NATO, the UN, independence, complete sovereignty, and I was on that road. So I think from about maybe 2008, but by the time 2014 arrived, any faith or hope that I had in the political system was completely shot, man. And when I say shot, I mean like a 12 gauge shotgun. Boom. To the whole lot. And loaded again. And shot again. It was just gone. And then I think from there on, I've been even more kind of awakened to the world. And I still don't know very much. And I'm the first person to admit that. But it takes a very brave man to come out and say that he is the guy who knows. A very brave man. Because I can bet you any money the one who does fucking does not. Right? Probably going out on a limb there. He's going out on a limb again. I was listening. There was something weird as well. Before we get into this, I better mention it. When was it? A couple of days, 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? So I got a notification on my phone. It was from Twitter, and it was a like, and I thought it came up a link, and I thought I never posted a link. So I went on and checked it out. It was a link to a video I posted in 2020 it was a comment, a reply. And I thought, that's weird. What video is that? So I click on it and it comes up and you can't comment. And I thought, wait a minute, when's this? 4 years ago, 2020. And I thought, wait a minute. It was a Friday fix, number 29. And I remember getting the email. It got a strike. I thought, what the heck's going on? It was coming up. I was watching it on YouTube, right? It got removed, man. It got removed in 2020. It got removed. And it was coming up. I thought that's a bit strange, that. So I went on and double checked if it definitely got removed, and it did definitely got a strike in 2020, and we covered a lot. The juice, the super wonder juice, it was just coming out. It was December 2020. We covered microplastics, which I actually predicted exactly what they're saying about microplastics today, now. Totally told it like it was, because we seen it coming. What else? I think 5G, and I mean there was quite, we covered quite a lot, but it was so weird, man. Because I thought, right, well, there must be a mistake. So I went. It was later on in the day, and I got another like, and I thought, what the heck? So I was thinking, right, maybe I can see the video. I could understand. I can kind of understand that being a glitch. But other people seeing it? How does that happen? I mean, was the post being randomly liked without it being watched? I'm unsure. It was bloody weird, man. I've never had that before, but it was strange. It was pretty strange, and I did mention it on Twitter. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it. But what I think I'll do is I'll screen capture the video and I'll post it on my Odyssey and Twitter, and people can check it out. And hey, I won't say it, but I told you so. I told you so, right? And it's from 2020. It's I mean, it's hard for me to watch old videos, but I'll get it recorded and people can check it out. Anyway, if anything happens of that, we'll come back to it, right? I thought I'd mention it because it was bloody weird. I don't know if anybody else has had a similar situation, but we're jumping back to the main topic, which is, what are we talking about again? Lockerbie. Lockerbie, poor wee Lockerbie. All it's known for now is the explosion. Not because it's a wee beautiful town in Scotland. I wonder what kind of vibe you would get in Lockerbie on the site. I mean, the crash sites it was gigantic. And that's a point we're going to bring up tonight. Because, yeah, over time, we're going to be kind of comparing it to other situations. So we'll compare it to flights that have been crash landed, flights that have been shot out the sky, and we've got one of them at hand, and it happened in 2014 over Ukraine. And I think that's worth looking at, because we want to build up a kind of library in our minds of what we're actually looking at here in terms of the Lockerbie, the Pan AM aircraft. Was it shot down? Did it blow up? If we can find similar comparisons that match, that could add weight to one or the other. Because either way, we can. Hey, the truth at the end of the day, it doesn't care about what anybody thinks. The truth is the fucking truth, and that's it. So there's no dog in the fight. There's no, I hope it's a missile. Oh, I hope it's a bomb. Because for me, I just wish it never happened. I would just wish it never happened, man. But it did. And it's one of these situations where it's quite undeniable what happened. Because in 9/11, some people talk about, well, did the buildings do this, and did the some people try and dismiss they even fucking blew up, they even came down. Well, they dissolved. Let's face it. But I've had people before talking about, look, the videos are not real. Don't get me wrong; some of them are questionable, certainly. But if you're coming and trying to tell me the towers did not collapse, then they'd still be there, right? They would still be there. And I doubt very much they are still there. But I've honestly had people saying, look, nobody died. And yeah, I question the figure, most definitely. It's way off target. But to say nobody died whatsoever, I mean, come on. I cannot see that. I mean, I'm open-minded. I really am. So in terms of Lockerbie, I don't think you've got anybody saying, look, a plane never crashed. Look, nobody died at Lockerbie. I don't think anybody says that, because I think this one's quite clear in regards to the people on the plane who died and the people on the ground who unfortunately perished as well. Is it beyond question? Certainly not. Nothing is beyond question. But for the time being, we take what we can, and again, we take it on face value. But going back to this, and this again in 2009, and I can remember it and thinking, what the heck? I can remember thinking, look, they're waving a Scotland flag. You can see the guy waving a Scotland flag. And it's like, holy moly. He came back to what some people described as a hero's welcome. All hail McGrahy. He was deemed the hero and portrayed in a certain way on media. Now remember that. And look at that image there. What do you see? What do you really see when you look at it? An aeroplane! Yeah. You've got to really look at it, right? And it's not the best image currently, but we're going to come back to it. Because it's something that I had missed, if true. I had missed it for a very long time. Although, again, to my kind of credit, it's only been recent that I've been looking into it. And I kind of feel guilty for that. I don't know why. But I feel a wee bit guilty that I've avoided it. But not anymore. Not anymore, man. No way. Not anymore. We are going there in terms of Lockerbie. And wherever it takes us, probably on a merry-go-round to nowhere. That would be. There's about 98% chance of that being the case, but we look into it, and hey, maybe there is that chance that we might make a few conclusions, evidence-based, that might tell us another story, right? So good to see everyone. Twilight of Moor in the hood. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Anybody else that I missed quickly? Ragnar in the hood. Good to see you. My good friend Ragnar, who we done a stream on. Was it last Sunday? Wow, nearly a week. And it was great. I enjoyed it. It's great being a guest. You just sit there and just talk nonsense. Doesn't he do that anyway? Yeah. And it was good. I enjoyed it. So I did share it. I don't know if it's public yet. Rags can let us know if he's still there. If he's still there, right? You can let us know, Ragnar. So good to see you. I hope you're doing well. And Jack. And Twilight of Moor in the hood. Near to Dunblane as well. Yeah, I did get asked as well last time, and in the comments if we could look at Dunblane. I mean, hocha. You don't get much tougher than Dunblane, and I mean it's one that I've not. And I suppose I probably should feel a wee bit guilty about this as well, but it's one that I've not really looked at. I mean, you've not got time to deep dive into everything, but I think Dunblane could be worth a look at. But again, it's going to be grim. It is going to be so grim. And it'll be, again, similar to Lockerbie, a gigantic can of worms. Just another notch in this web of deception where it all seems to tie in to each other. So I think we will. I don't know when, though. Because we've got it's going to be NASA next. And then it's going to be the Tombstones, a.k.a. the Georgia Not Here Anymore Guidestones. Then, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it goes from there, right? Excuse me. Coffee's coming up. So let's play. I'm going to be kind of jumping in and out and ruining the show. I tried to put the volume up as best as I can with the... I better put that up with the video, right? So it's not like too low, then too high, too low, too high, too low, too high. There's a game in that. So yeah, hey, I try my best. What else can I do, right? You can only work with the pathetic tools that you've got. Mind you, it's a poor man that blames his tools. So where are we? There we go. And we're good to go. So we'll listen to it. I'll kind of jump in and out and mention a bit or two. It's going to be consecutive videos. And we'll begin with the Al Jazeera news stream. So here we go.
The pictures the U.S. government had hoped to avoid. If Abdul Basit al-Mughrahi had to be released, the Obama administration did not want it rubbed in. This former Libyan intelligence officer was the only person convicted for the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. More than 270 were killed.
Let's point out that what he said in regards to America, what they wanted, or what they did not want, rather, right? Oh, we didn't want this, we didn't want that. Knew nothing about it. This so-called hero's welcome. Right, here we go.
The pictures the U.S. government had hoped to avoid. If Abdul Basit al-Mughrahi had to be released, the Obama administration did not want it rubbed in. This former Libyan intelligence officer was the only person convicted for the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103. More than 270 were killed, 189 of whom were American.
We have been in contact with the Scottish government indicating that we objected to this. And we thought it was a mistake.
Al-Maghrahi was released on compassionate grounds by the Scottish Justice Minister on Thursday. He is said to be terminally ill with just months to live, so the decision was taken to whisk him back to Libya, where he could spend his remaining days with family. The country's ruler hailed Al-Maghrahi's release. It's been a major boost for Muammar Gaddafi, just days ahead of a major celebration in the capital Tripoli to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the so-called Libyan revolution. There is still no word if Al-Maghrahi will attend the festivities, but even if he does not, U.S.-Libyan relations remain unsteady.
To the government of Libya.
The two countries had been on the mend since 2003, when Libya disclosed and turned over its nuclear program in exchange for ending its status as a pariah state. That opened the country up for visits by the U.S., and it's not even been a week since former presidential candidate and U.S. Senator John McCain was there to shake hands with Gaddafi himself and talk about possible arms deals. McCain's colleagues from Congress may have opposed Scotland's decision, but they're on summer recess. Libya will no doubt be on their radar when they return, especially if the sentiment among victims' families remain high.
We've just released a man convicted of massacring 270 people. We've given state-sponsored terrorism a victory, and the families have to watch all this. And 20 years later, this is the last sad chapter in this odyssey.
There has been less outrage in the United Kingdom, where many believe Al-Maghrahi was wrongly convicted. Libya and Britain signed an extradition treaty in April, paving the way for Al-Maghrahi's release. And the country's energy giant, British Petroleum, has already committed $1 billion to oil and gas exploration there. Almost all the country's business deals must go through Gaddafi's son Saif, seen here taking the lead in Al-Maghrahi's welcome home. Clayton Swisher, Al Jazeera.
So, yeah, a hero's welcome, seemingly, at Libya, which seemingly Gaddafi said wasn't going to happen. Libyan officials claimed there would be no hero's welcome. Obama, McCain all spoke out about Megrahi being released, saying it was a terrible decision to let him go, saying that it was they were angry, seemingly. They were angry that Megrahi got a hero's welcome. They were so angered by it. Excuse me. They were so angered. This is Obama and the American officials and McCain. Then you've got deals getting made with Megrahi being extradited to the UK. And of course, Libya, in turn, they get sanctions lifted. He gets to meet Gordon Brown. He meets Tony Blair. He meets John McCain, rubbing shoulders with the elite Gaddafi. Yep, makes the deal, signs it, all good in the hood. Then Megrahi gets released. Not so good in the hood. But of course, the petrol and the oil, it's already being pumped by then. And their use for Gaddafi is done. And we all know what history ensued in terms of Gaddafi. So they were all against it, all dead against it, and spoke very in a tone of anger at this so-called hero's welcome. And remember that, right? Keep that in mind. Now here we go back to some of the American officials talking in regards to Megrahi being released. Here it goes.
This is about how we fight terrorism. We cannot have a convicted terrorist be told that he had 3 months to live and released and sitting in the lap of luxury for up to 10 years. That is not justice served. And when we are trying to be able to be effective in fighting terrorism worldwide as allies with the US government and the UK government, we cannot tolerate a convicted terrorist going free on the basis of evidence that may well have been fraudulent. So we need this investigation. We have beseeched the UK government to do this investigation, to make sure it's independent, to get the facts so that the families of New Yorkers, of people from New Jersey, from all across our nation can know that justice was served in this case.
As I said to the Prime Minister, I appreciate and respect the position he had as the opposition leader at the time. I appreciate and respect the comments that he has made that this was a mistake as the Prime Minister. But while we appreciate and respect that...
Now, he's talking about David Cameron, the UK Prime Minister, not the Scottish First Minister, who was Alex Salmond at the time. He's referring to David Cameron. Remember that absolute... Oh, man. And Cameron's giving it, oh, shocking, terrible decision. It's so bad. That's what David Cameron was saying. And giving it, oh, I disagree, and the British government would have been against it, but it was a Scottish government. It was their decision to let him go. Let's play him again.
From all across our nation can know that justice was served in this case.
As I said to the Prime Minister, I appreciate and respect the position he had as the opposition leader at the time. I appreciate and respect the comments that he has made that this was a mistake as the Prime Minister. But while we appreciate and respect that, it cannot mean case closed. And when I said that to him, he said, well, it's not case closed. And I think that Senator Schumer referred to that, in that it is still the possibility of an independent inquiry is on the table.
We made progress. We think he really listened to us. And he did say that he didn't want to act precipitously. Obviously, it has lots of consequences for the British government, the Scottish government, and BP. So he sort of said, well, the document review will give him some time to assemble and not do everything in the rush of a visit here to the United States and in the rush of all of the talk about what's going on in the Gulf. And so I think we thought that was reasonable. And we really got the sincere impression that he was not just going through the motions, not just giving us the back of his hand, but would consider what we said. And it may well be that there will be a further and deeper investigation than just a document review.
There we go. So he's hoping more investigation, case won't be closed, right? Okay. And they're unhappy about the decision that got made by Scotland to let him go. But the key takeaway there for me is what he was saying about David Cameron. Oh, Cameron was against it. They would have said no. It was a big mistake that the Scottish government made. That's what they were saying. That's what Obama said it. Cameron said it. McCain said it. Oh, big mistake. Oh, we're angry. Very disappointed. Should not be. Off. Or are we back? I think the Wi-Fi dropped out. Sake. Are we okay? I don't know. It's saying we experienced a Wi-Fi issue. Shock horror. Oh, and now I'm bloody phoning people from my phone. I pushed it. I've got a voicemail. Because I was checking the Wi-Fi and I accidentally pushed the notification to phone for a voicemail that I've had for, I don't know, about 2 years. It won't go away. It just keeps coming up, the notification. Honestly, man, me and technology. So I think we're going another clip from Al Jazeera. Here we go. Buckle in.
The bomber Abdel Basit Ali Mohammed al-Magrahi in 2009 caused considerable anger in America and the UK. And the news that behind the scenes, the then UK government was doing all it could to secure his freedom will further stir up emotions. Megrahi remains the only person to have been convicted of involvement in the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie in 1988, an outrage which killed a total of 270 people. Megrahi's freedom was granted by the devolved authorities in Scotland on compassionate grounds, on the basis that he had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. Publicly, the government of Prime Minister Gordon Brown in London kept its distance, insisting that any criticism of the release should be directed at the Scottish. But the new review reveals that privately, the policy of the London government had fundamentally changed.
They were doing that for geopolitical, for economic reasons. And yet, a year later, when the Scottish government, under due process of Scots law, did release Mr Megrahi, then we were roundly attacked by the Labour Party in Scotland, viciously attacked, and Gordon Brown was absolutely silent. I haven't seen a more case of more organised hypocrisy in my political lifetime.
On October the 8th, 2008, the UK government minister Bill Rammell met his Libyan counterpart, Abdulati Al-Obidi. On October the 17th, Mr Rammell followed it up with a letter, and the two men met again on November 17th. On December the 1st, the British ambassador gave further procedural advice to the Libyans. And at a third meeting in February of 2009, Mr Rammell assured the Libyans that the UK did not want Megrahi to die in a British jail. Just 3 months later, the Libyans requested Megrahi's release. On a visit to Washington last July, the British Prime Minister David Cameron admitted that he would have preferred Megrahi to stay in prison. And when Mr Cameron met with the US Secretary of State at a conference in Munich just last weekend, the pair issued a joint statement strongly agreeing that the release of the Lockerbie bomber had been a mistake. But crucially, although the previous UK administration had changed its stance on Libya, the review concludes there was no improper lobbying of the Scottish authorities by London, nor did the oil company BP influence the Megrahi case. It is a small consolation from a very murky affair. Paul Brennan, Al Jazeera, London.
So, again, basically, David Cameron had been saying they were dead against Megrahi getting released, but secretly they didn't want him to be quote unquote dying in a Scottish jail. So they did want him out. But on the stage, they were saying, "Oh, the anger, the uproar," but they wanted him out. They didn't want him to seemingly die in a Scottish jail. So they were for, the British government were for releasing Megrahi, even though they came out and blatantly lied and said they weren't. And it was a bad decision. Blame the Scots. Oh, the Scots done it. That old chestnut, right? Typical. So the Scots, basically, Scotland was a patsy, man. Similar to Megrahi, Scotland was pretty much a patsy. And interesting, the word patsy gets mentioned as well, and you'll see as we go on. So we'll continue.
Our guest is Kenny McCaskill, who was until recently a Scottish Nationalist Party politician, member of the Scottish Parliament for Edinburgh Eastern, and former Cabinet Secretary for Justice in the Scottish government. The decision at the time attracted significant news coverage, engendering widespread celebration in Libya. However, his release met with a largely hostile reaction in the United States and a more equally divided reaction in Britain. Questions about the trial and its outcome continue to this day. And so perhaps we can begin by having you add anything that I may have left out in my introduction.
Right now, this is the guy. This is Kenny McCaskill, the Scottish politician. He was like Secretary of Scotland at the time. It was on his head, seemingly, to make the call whether or not to release Megrahi from jail, the Lockerbie bomber. I think he had been in at the time for 9 years, 8 or 9 years, and a doctor had said it would be interesting to find out who the doctor was and a wee bit more about him. But a doctor said Megrahi's only got 3 months to live and then that's it. You would imagine they would have got a second opinion or 3, maybe 4. Did they just wing it on one doctor? Ah, yeah, it's a doctor, right? He's got a white coat on. You can trust him. Because of course he went on to live for over 3 years. And I even question how ill the guy actually was. Because he was up for talking up until he agreed to drop the appeal and get released on compassionate grounds, and then he would not say a word to anybody in the way of the media. Not a word, man. Nothing. It was like the deal was done. It was over. He had fuck all to say. He had done his part. And there was occasions, and I doubt we'll get it tonight, but when we come back to Lockerbie again, Megrahi put out a statement. I'm going to kind of analyse it, and then we'll look at that because that was quite interesting, quite telling as well. But he's one of these characters, a bit like Gaddafi. And when I'm watching the videos of Megrahi after he's out and he's on like a hospital bed and stuff like that, I don't know, man. I get this feeling like we're being duped. You know, it felt a bit like either this is not Megrahi or the guy's not ill and he's like got his mask on and he's looking and he's like, no, he won't be speaking to anybody. And it's a bit like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I've no doubt that Megrahi was a patsy. My question with him is, how much did he know he was being used? Because they paint an impression that Gaddafi signs a deal, Megrahi's going to go to Scottish court, and it's going to be, no, actually, I think it was in Europe. Anyway, he's going to go to the court, I'm unsure. It's going to be a fair trial. The evidence is zilch. They'll have a trial, you'll come back home. And of course, the Scottish powers that be, well, the trial was fraudulent. The evidence was fraudulent. I mean, that's common knowledge. It was one of the biggest frauds in Scottish history. In Scottish court history, at least. I dread to imagine the rest. So, yeah. Getting back to Kenny. You need to listen to what he says here. So this is the guy that seemingly made the call to let Megrahi out. I kind of doubt that, but he was the face that was put on. This is the guy who wrote a book on it. Talk about cashing in, right? He wrote a book. I doubt it would have sold very well, but it was mainly about Lockerbie I mean, how sad would your life have to be if that's what you wrote a book about? I mean, it was a small part of his life. He was not even involved in it really. He was part of the government. It just happened when he was there. I don't know. Maybe he's got every right to write a book about it. Who am I to judge, right? Who am I? So we'll go back and now listen. She said, "Have you got anything to kind of tell us or clear up before we go on?" Right. So here we go.
Remarks.
Well, I think just maybe a point of clarification, because you talked about the hero's reception, and we're in an age of false facts. That was a false fact. I remember being in my flat watching it, and I too was perturbed because I thought, here comes a problem. And it was only when I started researching the book, I realized that there was no hero's reception.
So straight off the bat, he's saying that it's a false fact. It was false, untrue, in regards to this hero's reception, a hero's return back to Libya. It was made up. He did go back, but what we got was Bollywood, Libbywood. At least according to Kenny, Mr. McCaskill. And I mean, you really have to begin to wonder, at what point or turn are we not being lied to or deceived? In particular with the media, is every single thing we get twisted and manipulated and merged to trick and deceive? Probably, right? So he's saying it's a lie. We'll continue with him. He said, "Look, it's not true." So what else has he got to say? Let's go.
I had always been surprised because I'd listened to the British ambassador in Tripoli saying, no, there was no hero's reception. And what I found out from a former State Department official, and indeed confirmed by WikiLeaks, what happened was that there were two separate events. And Gaddafi, presumably it was Gaddafi, conjoined them through television. Because not only had we in the Scottish government said to the Libyans, look, you've got to be respectful to the victims' families, but the State Department, through John Brennan and others, said you better be respectful to the victim's family and
Did you hear that? It was two videos merged. They were joined together, like one with a background added to it. It was Libbywood. At least according to Kenny McCaskill. It was a fake video, basically. Well, a real video merged with another video to make it look a certain way. And America had said, look, whatever you do, do not give him a big reception like a hero's welcome. Under any circumstances, seemingly he was told Gaddafi. By American military, well, American top brass and UK top dogs. Don't do it. Don't have it. But then the media, it was everywhere, man. Everywhere. Scotland flags, yeah, hero, Gaddafi, McGrahy. And people were enraged by it. Enraged. And now Kenny's saying it was a fake video. But there's more. We'll continue.
there better be no celebration. And what happened was that he was met by Saif Gaddafi, but the crowd scenes that we saw were in fact a separate scene, an incident that took place at Tahrir Square, the equivalent of something down at the very bottom of Manhattan, where people did not know what it was. They were celebrating something entirely different. But of course, when they were merged on TV, it made it look, and indeed Gaddafi did it himself. The only thing I have to say is, and it made me extremely cynical, David Miliband, the Foreign Secretary for Britain, knew that.
So Gaddafi himself, in the words of Kenny McCaskill, he spliced it together. Gaddafi did. Who'd have thought Gaddafi done a bit of production, right? I wonder what else Gaddafi produced. Yeah. If it's to be believed, that it is indeed a fake video, I think it could be right. It could be. I think it could be. And I've only kind of glanced at it, but I think it is fake. Was it made by Gaddafi? I'm unsure. I mean, he was told not to. None of that was meant to happen. And because it did happen, it was a bit like a double cross. And it might have been the final nail in the coffin for Gaddafi. And of course, the oil was already getting pumped out. The claws had been sunk into Libya. And it was just a case of getting rid of Gaddafi. I think they killed his son as well, if indeed they are both dead. And they were the ones who signed a lot of these deals. I wonder what that would mean for these so-called deals that were made for BP and Shell as well. Gordon Brown, another criminal. I wonder how much money Shell and BP have made from Libya. So he said, look, Gaddafi fucking put it together like a Hollywood production. I mean, it's a bit like a death sentence, that. It's a death wish, even. So I don't know. I kind of find it hard. I don't find it hard to buy that the video's fake, but I do find it hard to buy that it was actually Gaddafi that made it. I think that might have been a CIA MI6 twist in the plot. I don't know. I mean, I can't say that he would not have done it. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel I'm unsure. I don't know. I can't see. I'm not denying the video's fake, but Gaddafi put it together himself, even though Libya were warned by many big names. And I mean, the last thing they would have probably wanted is to get more sanctions. They were recovering. And there's an image that always stands out in my mind with Gaddafi, and it's him standing in some kind of town square, and behind him there's a statue of a big golden fist, like an arm and a fist, and it's got an American fighter jet in the grip of the hand, crushed, and it's got USA on the jet. And I thought, if that's not asking for trouble, man, I don't know what is. Like, I mean, come on. You could say it was written in stone that Gaddafi was a marked man. But of course, the way the West work and the powers that be, oh man, they'll take you for every single thing you've got. Then they'll just do away with you. Finished. The whole lot. Why risk it? And I think that's what we've seen. So he's basically came out and said, look, Gaddafi faked the video. There wasn't even a hero celebration. It was completely Bollywood. It was Libya Wood. And he even goes on to say, on top of that, another British government official at the time, Ed No Balls Miliband, he knew it was fake. But he wasn't the only one who knew, seemingly, that it was a fake video. Let's listen again.
David Miliband Miliband, the Foreign Secretary for Britain, knew that. President Obama knew that. Both, of course, suited their agenda to say that it was shocking and the Scots had been patsies and we had allowed this to happen. But there was no hero's reception.
Well, how fitting is that? Quite fitting, right? Patsy? Wait a minute, what? Yeah, there's a Patsy, all right. Well, two, Scotland and Gaddafi. Not Gaddafi, McGrahy. Oh, man. I always get them mixed up. Funny that. I wonder if they're the same person. It's the same actor, that's why. Ah, I get it now. Now I see. So, incredibly, but I doubt it would shock anybody, going by what Mr. McCaskill said, Obama, Mr. Obama himself knew about it. He knew the video was fake. But did he come out and say that? No, he did not. Again, a bit of an insight as to the type of people, entities that you're dealing with here. Not good. So Obama knew it was a fake video, but the anger at the reception, right? In the fact that Scotland had let him go, even though the British government wanted him out of the Scottish jail. But to the public, oh no, it's terrible. Blame the jocks. It was them terrible jocks that done it. What can I say, right? What can I say? Blame the Scots. Why not? Hey, we've got the fucking skin for it. Yeah, I do kind of think, why Scotland as well? Why Scotland? There's a question. So Obama knew, Ed Miliband knew, everybody knew. But I mean, how did they know? How did they know? How did they know it was faked? Probably because they fucking made it. That's why. It was probably made by British intelligence. And I mean, what an absolute web of lies and twisted deception we've got with the Lockerbie bombing. And you know, my heart goes out to people affected by it, man. Just terrible.
They agreed to a demand.
We'll listen again, because let's be sure. I'll play him from the start again. Where is he? About there. About there. Right, so let's give him the full whack without me interjecting. Here we go.
I may have left out my introductory remarks.
Well, I think just maybe a point of clarification, because you talked about the hero's reception, and we're in an age of false facts. That was a false fact. I remember being in my flat watching it, and I too was perturbed because I thought, here comes a problem. And it was only when I started researching the book, I realized that there was no hero's reception. I had always been surprised because I'd listened to the British ambassador in Tripoli saying, no, there was no hero's reception. And what I found out from a former State Department official, and indeed confirmed by WikiLeaks, what happened was that there were two separate events. And Gaddafi, presumably it was Gaddafi, conjoined them through television. Because not only had we in the Scottish government said to the Libyans, look, you've got to be respectful to the victims' families, but the State Department, through John Brennan and others, said you better be respectful to the victim's family and there better be no celebration. And what happened was that he was met by Saif Gaddafi, but the crowd scenes that we saw were in fact a separate scene, an incident that took place at Tahrir Square, the equivalent of something down at the very bottom of Manhattan, where people did not know what it was. They were celebrating something entirely different. But of course, when they were merged on TV, it made it look, and indeed Gaddafi did it himself, The only thing I have to say is, and it made me extremely cynical, David Miliband, the Foreign Secretary for Britain, knew that. President Obama knew that. Both, of course, suited their agenda to say that it was shocking and the Scots had been patsies and we had allowed this to happen. But there was no hero's reception. They agreed to a de minimis meeting. Saif Gaddafi did meet Megrahi, but the cheering scenes that you saw of crowds had no idea what they were had an idea what they were celebrating. It wasn't the release of Megrahi because they did not know it was something entirely separate. So that's the only point of clarification. And I think the only other thing to say is, and I understand why for victims, it's the Lockerbie bombing. But the one thing that I've become clear in researching this, because that's only part of my life, I was Justice Secretary for 7.5 years and it took up almost all of it. Lockerbie was a whole series of events. It was a process. It didn't start on the 21st of December and end with the trial. It started long before that because people in Britain and in America sometimes forget terrorism didn't start with 9/11. Before that, you had the players with different names. You can take out ISIS, ISIL, Al-Qaeda, North Africa, and you can insert the PFLP, GC, Red Army faction. You go back to bombings and attacks that took place in airports in Vienna and Rome. They were precursors. And on it went. There was an attack by a terrorist group. There was a retaliation by the West. There was an attack by a terrorist group. There was a retaliation by the West. There was an attack by the terrorist group. There was the USS Vincennes in the July of 1988. That was the precursor for the events on the 21st of December, 1988. Nor did it end with the trial because as the West wanted access to Libya, because they wanted to have a strategic interest in a bulwark against the rise of Islamic terrorism in places like that, because things like Babcock and Wilcox, Marathon Oil, BP, Halliburton, all were wanting their share of the natural resources. Because Libya was hurting with sanctions, they came together and the trial was agreed in the Netherlands. The West and Libya subsequently fell out, but then they wanted to get back together again. And what you find is when the situation in 2007 and the prisoner transfer agreement, BP and Halliburton were going head to head. And indeed before that, I don't have time because I'll interfere in other things. In 2004, 3 years before I became Justice Secretary, Tony Blair embraced Gaddafi for the deal in the desert. The following day, and I put this in because people say my decision was based on oil. We got nothing out of this, and I got nothing out of this. But 3 years before I became Justice Secretary, day one, Blair embraced Gaddafi. Day two, Shell signed a deal for 550 million. Day three, MI6 rendered a Libyan dissident to the CIA who returned him to Gaddafi. And it was the start of a rendition process that was ongoing where many people were returned to be tortured and abused by Gaddafi. This idea that the Scottish government were patsies that embraced Megrahi, it was President Obama who shook his hand in the July of 2009. It was Secretary of State Clinton that the Megrahi family, and I think it was the May of 2009, to say we can do business. Gordon Brown shook his hand. So I stand by what we did in Scotland. But this bombing was a series of events. It was a personal tragedy for all the families involved, whether they were in America or whether they were in Scotland. But it straddles 45 years.
So, yeah, quite interesting what Kenny said. Again, we take it with a pinch of salt, but I reckon the video being fake could be true. He kind of said two things in regards to Gaddafi, because he said he thinks it was Gaddafi or possibly Gaddafi that made it. Then he went on to say it was Gaddafi that made it. Originally, he said presumably it was Gaddafi. Then he said it was Gaddafi. I don't know. I don't think it was Gaddafi that made it, to be honest. But I can't believe. I mean, he seems quite an honest guy, but he's a politician. He's a politician. So, I mean, yeah. What more do you need to say? To be honest, but I can believe that Obama knew and I can believe that Blair knew, simply because it was probably put out by the West rather than Gaddafi himself. I mean, I don't know, maybe it was. Just picturing Gaddafi, right, take that video, we'll crop this and we'll cut that out. We'll put it together and we'll go against the wishes of America and the UK. Look, there's an image there, a still. So I think what they're saying, what McCaskill's kind of saying, is that the plane is there, but then the crowd at the bottom have been added. And it does look a bit like that, right? It does look, when you, I mean, at first, I don't think I can say it crossed my mind. It crossed my mind that it was merged. So this whole time we've been duped, man. This whole time we've been looking at it, and it's been a cross between two videos, to instigate probably more hatred towards Libya. Start painting Gaddafi in a bad way. Because I mean, who would be stupid enough to do it and then get sanctioned again after it was going so good? The Clintons meeting Gordon Brown, whose face looks like it's been in front of a coal fire for about 2 days. It's melted. Again, another criminal. Meeting Tony Blair, meeting John McCain. Is that his name, John McCain? Shaking hands with Obama as well. Obama never went, well, as far as we can see, Obama never went to Libya, but he was at a conference, and Gaddafi was there, and he shook his hand, like best buddies. So it was going well. Libya was from what I can see, Libya was doing quite well. It was on the, I guess, a road. It had recovered from quite a shady period where it was being sanctioned and so forth, due to other incidents that occurred before Lockerbie, and then they kind of, it was like a trap. They lured him in one way or another. They lured Gaddafi in, got what they wanted, and then put him. I shouldn't laugh, but got what they wanted. It was so clear. How he fell for it, I don't know. That's why I have question marks in regards to what kind of role Gaddafi was actually playing. Whose side was he actually on? So I don't know. I mean, it does look a bit dodgy, right? When you look at the people there, it seems to be it looks different from the image in the background. You can almost tell looking at it. And I've done different thumbnails, and you'll cut out, and you'll merge two images, and it's got that feel to it. It has got that feel to it, but it's been done in quite a good way. It's not a sloppy. It's not a Kate, what's her face, Middleton job. It's more of a, yeah, it's a lot better. It's a lot better, a lot more professional, which makes me think Gaddafi done that. What uni did Gaddafi go to for the videos? Oh, right, okay. So again, if it's been done in such a way, I think you're looking at MI6 or the CIA. So that's a still there, and I think the number on the plane 99 and then 99. Is one of them upside down? You can't see it there. Why is it doing that? It was lagging. I wanted to catch up on a comment as well. Davina in the hood, good to see you, Davina. And Frank, the information tank in the hood, good to see you, and thanks for the emails, Frank. Lai as well, our Scottish brother in the hood, good to see you. Yeah, this is what I wanted to mention because it's crossed my mind as well in regards to Gaddafi, and was he even in jail? Because part of me thinks that he probably wasn't even in jail. I mean, if that is the case, I mean, the guy's an actor, right? That would certainly be the be proof of the pudding. I would say. I mean, if he wasn't, where was he? Was he in Epstein Island? Because that would have been the type of Gaddafi. Maybe Megrahi as well. It was certainly the type of Gaddafi. It's not just the West that have got monsters, that's for sure. That goes right across the board, unfortunately, for a lot of people. Sadly, a lot of young people, boys and girls. So I have asked about, because I follow a guy who he's been in prison before. He's quite well known in I guess the prison circles, and I thought, he's the guy to ask. He would be the one to ask, and maybe he himself had seen him. And I'm sure I did ask him, and he said someone talked about a double cell being kitted out for Gaddafi. I think the guy said he hadn't seen Gaddafi, but he knew someone who did see him, I think. So I'm unsure of that one, but I kind of lean towards that he wasn't even in jail. That's how much we're being we're being duped here, man. So it's like, but I'll ask again, and I'll maybe get the guy on, Chris. I'll get him on. He's quite a smart lad and knows his stuff, and he can maybe tell us a wee bit more about it. Because yeah, I've got a few questions over that. Seemingly he went to Berlin, and then he was moved to, I think, Greenock or somewhere else. But I think most of his time was spent in Barrel or Berlin. So yeah, it would be good to ask about, because that guy, I think he served quite a bit of time, and he's quite well known. So I mean, I'm not the guy to confirm it, but I think he would be, or he might even know someone who's seen Gaddafi or had I mean, someone must have, if he was there must have been exchanges at some point, right? Surely, you would imagine. That's another image there where. So good to see you, Lai in the hood, Mark as well. Good to see you, and Davina, and Frank, the information tank. Oh, Linda as well. Good to see you, Linda. I hope you're doing well. Where did I see Nathan? There we go. Nathan in the hood, Nathan and Penny. I hope you're both doing well. Good to see us, and thank you for the continued engagement. So that's another image. I'll take the comment away. A special unit, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but I know there was quite a bit of change when this particular prisoner appeared or did not appear, but was meant to. So it's one that I'll speak to Chris, and maybe next time when we're doing Lockerbie, we'll talk about it. Again, this one, it looks a bit. There is a video. They show a video of like a car, and the guy's hanging out the sunroof and the window. But it could have been anywhere. It could have been anywhere. It could have been from any time. You don't see Megrahi or anything like that. But this one has a bit of a a two photos merged feel to it, don't you think? With these people at the front, in the car and at the side, they look like they're in the same picture. But the people at the back, in the white, in the plane, that would appear, to me, to my stupid eyes, it just does it. It looks, and before I probably would never have even noticed. But now that it's been said, and I look at them, it's like, yeah, actually, they did fake it, right? They faked it. They faked the hero's return. I guess the question would be, why did they fake it? I mean, for me, it's definitely a merged image. This one, again, I think it's a merged. It's been merged. So you've got this one. You can see the Scotland flags as well, and you've got like a picture of McGrahy on this, seemingly on this protesters banner. I can't remember what you would call it. But again, here, I mean, for me, these people at the very front are in one image, and the people at the back are in a separate image. And the plane might even be a third added to it. So yeah, I think Kenny could be right. I think the video could be fake. I want to take you now quickly. What time are we on? Almost 2 hours. I think we'll be all right. I'll show you now a bit of the Lockerbie map that you can see on the thumbnail. You can tell when I'm multitasking. Well, maybe you can't actually. Don't sound any different. So you're talking about a gigantic area here. Gigantic. And there is, because I was going to make my own kind of map where we'd point out different areas where stuff landed and what have you. I might still do that. There is some available similar to this one, but I kind of want to make my own. So I think we're talking, can people see the cursor? I'm unsure. I think you can. So I think the plane came in, as far as I'm aware, it was coming in from a kind of a wee bit south of the where the word Lockerbie is. And then it's blew up. And it's just everywhere. Scattered. Right all the way up here. And by the end of it, they said the debris covered a radius of 800 plus miles. And when you compare that with Shanksville, it's like, wait, what? In a plane? Crash landed at Shanksville on September? What was it? A fucking a kid's plane that crashed? You know them ones you used to, wee planes you would get at the shop? You'd buy it for like 50 pence, and it was 2 bits of polystyrene, and it had the wee propeller at the front. And that was like a toy. That was like a toy for us growing up. I don't know if you probably got them in other parts of the world. Yeah, that was a treat. So maybe it was one of them that crashed at Shanksville, because when you start to compare with other plane crashes, shooting down, blew up, what have you, there's no comparison. There is no comparison, man. So that's quite a vast area. If we look, can we see where, remember Can anyone remember the name of the street? I think it was Sherwood Crescent. It must be here. It was like the biggest area. Is that the main road there? Because it hit the main road. There is another image where it shows you hitting. It's like shows you where it hit the road and then it landed in the houses. But it basically got shot out. Well, I'm saying that. It fell out the sky. It blew up and fell and was scattered over quite a vast area. Like it just and then just landed straight forward and came down. A wee bit here veered off quite a bit, which we'd certainly point to. I mean, that's a fair distance. I mean, that would tell you that it definitely blew up in the air. I don't think that's up for debate. It could be, it could be, right? It could be. But as far as I can see, judging by the debris as well, some even picked up in the North Sea and by the Irish Coast Guard and what have you. So I think if it just crashed, you would have this sort of blue bit, but you wouldn't be way out here and you wouldn't be further on. It's a vast area. It stretches over quite a bit of Scotland. There is a map that shows you it's like the whole part of Scotland, basically. So I want to show you that. And now I'm going to take you to another incident that happened. I mentioned it before. In 2014, Malaysian aircraft. Someone said, I don't know if it's true or not, right? But someone said there's been 60, was it 62 or 64 plane crashes this year already on record. And it's like, ooh, can we cancel that holiday? I might cancel it, right? Hopefully no one's flying currently. I doubt it. Maybe on crack, but there you go. So, yeah, there seems to be a bit of a theme currently in this day and age with these aircraft, and that could be one that we might look into. Yeah, it's certainly catching my attention, so we might look at it. Well, kinda, maybe not a lost plane. So we're going back to 2014. How MH17 came apart over Ukraine. So the Wall Street Journal catalogued and mapped some of the debris of Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, which fell across 3 Ukrainian villages after a Boeing 777 was brought down on July 17. 717. A 777 on the 7th of the 17th, Flight 17. Wow. Yeah. Ain't that something, right? So it was brought down on the 7th of July is the 7th month, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure calendar. Alexa, is July the 7th month? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I mean, you couldn't fit any more 7s in there. Lucky number, right? So seemingly, or allegedly, it came down or was brought down by a surface-to-air missile. Boom, shot out the sky. Going by what we're told. A Boeing 777. What was the Pan AM? I think was that not a Boeing 747 maybe. Let's double check in real time while I've still got battery. Someone might be able to correct me. It was Pan AM Flight 103. It was it even a Boeing? It was. I was right. Holy moly. Holy moly. I should just quit now while I'm ahead. So yeah, it was a 747 Pan AM Flight 103. Scheduled transatlantic flight from Frankfurt to Detroit. Yeah. But it started in Malta, seemingly. And it went to Heathrow. Flight from Frankfurt to Detroit via a stopover in London and another in New York City. Wait, what? Oh, that was its regular. All right, I see. I thought they were trying to say that was on the day of Lockerbie, but hey, you should always read it properly. I'm looking at information on Pan Flight 103. So that was Lai said in the chat that it was a bit suspicious, the flight path. That one I'd have to maybe double check. I'm unsure because I've recorded flights here. Obviously, I mean, this is quite recent. In recent years, so back then it might have been a strange flight path to take. But I've had flights here thinking, I've checked it on the radar and it's like, what the heck? Why is it coming up here and then it's flying away over there? And it never makes any sense to me, to be honest. It's like, you just fly fucking straight across there, fucking A to B, man. But they seem to go on these weird flight paths. So I don't know. It's one I'd have to look into. But it was indeed a 747. So a similar aircraft. I'm unsure as to what the actual differences would be between a Boeing 747 and a Boeing 777. Anybody want to take a crack at that? Apart from saying the name, the number. the number. So, hey, it's a similar aircraft. It's a passenger aircraft. And it got shot out of the sky. Surface to air missile. Which is interesting to us because we cannot rule out the possibility of Flight 103 also being taken down by a surface to air missile. And it is not a popular common theory and probably dismissed by everybody, but I'm not ruling it out. I cannot rule it out. Not after it was originally Dean Warwick put me on to it. Then I thought I would dig a bit more after hearing, in particular, the eyewitness statements, accounts. I cannot rule it. I was hoping I'd be able to say, look, they seen it in the sky. It blew up in the sky. They were watching the plane. Boom, it blew up. Landed on Lockerbie. But we appear to have nobody who actually seen the plane before it blew up. Nobody. Not a soul. Because if we did, they would certainly be able to say it got hit by a missile or it just blew up in the sky. That is if they seen a missile. But of course, we've heard already screaming, people who possibly, well, talked about potentially a potential collision with another aircraft. I'm sure there's even reports that someone thought they might have seen lightning before it. And we certainly seen people talking about a big flash and a kind of strange, horrible noise before the explosion, which could point to a missile. I mean, I cannot rule that out. I can't put any heavy weight behind it, but I can't rule it out. And I certainly can't rule out a bomb being on board, like we said in part 2. I can't rule that out either. And on top of that, there's more. On top of that, I can't rule out a scenario where both of them took place. There was a bomb and it did get hit by a missile. Like a JFK, but it was a plane. I guess one could have been a backup plan. Do you trust a timer and a stuff like that? I don't know. That whole story is fabricated. I don't buy any of the Meebo, Swiss company, the timer. Another thing on that as well. I mean, it's so fucking criminal, man. There was somebody who he was like an expert in making shirts in I think men's clothing, and he would like hand sew clothes together. And what would you call that? I don't know. Tailor. Anyway, he knew you could put a shirt in front of that guy and he would tell you the size of it like that. Oh, chest, this, what have you. Now, when you're looking at the Lockerbie case, what they try and say is they found a brown shirt that was seemingly in the suitcase where the bomb was located. And from that shirt, they traced it back. Remember, the fragment, the teeny fucking microscopic fragment that they found that traced it back. But you can look on the evidence of the photos, right? There's a picture of this brown shirt, like all burnt out and similar to some of the stuff you've seen on other, maybe possibly 9/11, like a bit of evidence that they had burnt. It was a bit like that. So they've got this brown shirt, completely destroyed, but it's still got you can see the collar, the shirt collar, and the top button of this brown shirt. And seemingly, going by the official story and the evidence, this shirt was purchased by McGrahy at a store, which he then put in the suitcase, right? Brown shirt. McGrahy bought it at a store. And when the storeman was questioned originally, he gave a list of items that McGrahy had bought. A shirt wasn't even on it. There was no shirt there. The guy, he never even bought a shirt. But then later that changed. And somehow he changed his mind and was like, oh yeah, he bought a brown shirt. And that's not all of it, because this brown shirt, it's when you look at it on the evidence picture, like I said, an expert in clothing, he seen it and instantly he knew. Instantly. The shirt was not an adult shirt. It was a kid's. It would have only fitted a kid. It was made for a kid, and he could tell that. But they were saying that McGrahy bought an adult brown shirt for him. But it was a kid's shirt that was in the picture of the evidence. I mean, talk about a botched job. Honestly, it is so full of holes. And again, we can certainly conclude again, like we did conclude in part 2 and part 1, possibly. The biggest overall thing here that is so clear to see is that the official story is simply not true. McGrahy did not blow up Pan AM Flight 103. The question is, who did and how did they do it? That's the two questions. Who was it and how did they do it? in the terms of who was it, it's the West and the UK for me. I hate to say it, but they've done it. The whole lot, they done it. To us, they've done it. To their own people. In terms of how it happened, that I'm unsure. That I'm still kind of split. And I'm unsure if we're going to get to the bottom of that. But with that said, looking at this aircraft here, you've got the flight path and then these small free villages. This is the Malaysian. Then this area where debris has landed. It's been shot out the sky, then poof. Similar to Lockerbie. It's been in a similar kind of path. And here we've got some of the stuff pointed out. Central structures way down here. Crew, rest bunks there. Fuselage, vertical tail, cargo door frame, left wingtip, horizontal tail, right rear door frame, scattered about, very similar to Lockerbie. Now there will be, again, this is purely out of to give us a better idea of what we're looking at. We need to see more examples of it. We need to know a wee bit more about it. So this is kind of putting out more examples. And I do understand that. If this aircraft had a bomb on board, this one in Poland, would it have landed in the same way? Possibly. In terms of the debris? Possibly. I can't rule that out. But is there similarities between this and Lockerbie? There is. In my view, that there is. And here you've got a cockpit as well, and the lower nose, which we've seen in Lockerbie. And this one's in a different part. Similar to Lockerbie, what happened there. Very similar. That's why I plan on, and what I'm going to do is I'll create the map when I'll work on it, but I'll create the map of Lockerbie. I'll try and create one of the Malaysian flight, and we'll compare that. Again, it'll be nothing concrete, but it gives us a better idea of what we might be looking at and what might have actually happened. So that's what I mean by similar, thinking back to the image we showed with the debris in Lockerbie. There is similarities. It doesn't prove very much, but the more we look at aircraft that have blown up and aircraft that have been shot down. Because this has been shot down, but I mean, it's blew up in the sky, right? Similar to Lockerbie. And I mean, it's interesting when you listen back to the eyewitnesses, they're talking about how the noise of it. Yeah, the official story tells you it was 30,000 feet in the air when it blew up. You're hardly going to hear it. I mean, I can vaguely hear an aircraft at that height. And my hearing's not great, to be fair. I'm a bad example. But I'm sure people out there, when a plane's 30,000 feet in the air, you hardly hear it. You wouldn't hear it inside. If you're outside and there's no traffic, you might hear it. But these people talking about the noise of it before it blew up, but the official story said, well, it blew up at 30,000 feet in the air. I mean, would you even hear that? I don't know, man. Part of me struggles to buy it was 30,000 feet in the air. Just by the the eyewitnesses who talk about the noise. But in that in that case, are they actually talking about a rocket, a missile that they heard? And the only thing you're going to be able to compare that to is an aircraft. And it might be what your mind would automatically think without you even looking up into the sky. You might think, oh, is it a missile? Is it a plane? I mean, I hear them all the time. I really do. Let me sort this. There we go. I lost my place a bit there. But we're all good. We're all good in the hood. So I need to, what I'm going to be doing is looking at more and comparing maps and doing what Gaddafi done and merging them together. Maybe I should get Gaddafi. Maybe he could show us how to do it. So it's widespread there. You could say, well, Lockerbie was a bit more widespread. Is the cockpit in here though? It's not. The cockpit's not even in this image. It's way must be way out the way. Do these join up? I don't think they do. But again, you've got the cockpit. It would be interesting to look at images of the cockpit when it was on the ground and compare that to the one that was in Lockerbie, because that certainly caught my eye. So I might try and do that, and we can compare. Is there more images I can show you of? What time are we on now? Yeah, we'll go 2.5 hours. I think we'll try and get it tied up, and then we'll come back to it probably in the summertime, unless I kind of uncover something that I feel needs to be shared. Then I will. Let me see. I'll share this screen. Where is it? Oh no, not that. More images of the Malaysian flight crash. I mean, it's kind of hard to draw comparison, but some of it is definitely very Lockerbie like. I better watch what images I'm showing. I'm unsure if there's actually. I mean, I know they've got body bags, but so this was over Ukraine. Seemingly Russia shot it out the sky. And I think we do get similarities between this case and Lockerbie. I'm hoping to find more eyewitness statements and testimony. I'm adamant, man. I'm determined. I'm determined to find more. There must be more. There must be. Whether or not they're out there is another question. I think we've pretty much found most of them on YouTube. So we look elsewhere. We begin to dig around and see what we can come up with. I'll show you. There's a video here. It was from the Malaysian crash. Share screen. Here we go. See what he said there? It said, and I mean, I don't know if there's been a breakdown in, in translation, but he said, it came up and said, the pilot was seen crawling. Did you see that? He said that. Where did he say it? Play it again. Mute it. Effing passenger plane. Have they found the black box? Oh, black box. How to use. Press play. And a charger for it. He's taking it home. Bugger. What happened? Yeah, there we go. We're back. I got distracted. I got distracted, kids. Let me see. I'm sure that's what he said, right? The pilot was seen crawling. But maybe it's back. Oh, fuck's sake. Full screen. Is it still sharing? Some device. Some kind of device. Oh, fuck's sake. We missed it again. I'm sure I seen that. Am I imagining things? Maybe I'm imagining things. I'm sure that's what he said. Let's fucking watch it again. It does also look a bit Lockerbie like. The smoke. The debris. Certainly not like Shanksville. Who gave them the corridor right to fly through this area? I don't know if this is the guy his own bag or one of the an item of luggage. I mean, it would be a bit. I don't know. Would you be going through someone's luggage? Seems a bit. Crawling. A pilot was seen crawling. I wonder. A pilot was seen crawling. See, it caught my eye that because I do, for the life of me, I can't. I somehow feel that people survived the Lockerbie crash, the plane. And it's mainly because of that, what Dean Warwick said. And also the fact that you either survived it or you didn't. You were dead or alive. There was no in between. No in between. So that's one we keep looking at. But yeah, imagine that. That would be a scary sight, that, man. Walking onto a plane crash. Remember that film, what was it called? Leave the World Behind. That was a weird film, that, right? And that's been on my mind because of all these plane crashes. It's like, shit, we're in Leave the World Behind now. We've switched from George Orwell's 1984 into Leave the World Behind. But that's pretty much it. I'm not going to take up any more of your time this weekend. Hooray! 3 cheers, right? We were on Twitter and YouTube tonight. So good evening to everyone on YouTube and X, I should say. I hope you're doing well. Hope everyone has a great weekend. So we'll jump and say cheerio, and then we'll call it a night, and then I'll be back, I think, on Monday. Let me think. I reckon it'll be Monday. Is there anything else I've got to say? Not really. I think we can certainly conclude that the official narrative to Lockerbie is not true. That is kind of for the time being the bottom line. In the air is the question of how did it get shot down and who shot it down. And that's kind of what we want to hopefully see if we can see if we can get to the bottom of it. Wherever that is, don't ask me, right? Wherever it takes us. Hey, God only knows. God only knows. And I've only got, because I'm on a different setup, I've only got my X-Files intro. So that's all we've got to go out on. I guess I could maybe find a song on YouTube. Could I do that? Have I got the power? So we're all good. Hopefully everyone's hanging in there, and yeah, you keep going. It was like the priest said in part 2, you do not allow yourself to crack up, no matter what. You just don't. You keep going, man. New day tomorrow. Keep going. Keep going. Think ahead. Think ahead. Think ahead. Without kind of not living in the now. So you've got to get that balance as well. You've got to get that balance of, because you can live too much trying to live in the future when, and I think in that kind of mode, life just flies by, man. And you're kind of not embracing the now, if you like, without getting into the whole power of now and all that stuff. It's yeah, you do your best, you find the right balance that can suit you, because everybody's different. There's no one thing that'll usually work for everybody, right? If only, in fact, hey, let's not give them ideas. They'll be trying to make a secret potion that they can treat us with, right? Should we maybe do a stream in the near future in regards to Trump and what's his name? Kennedy. I think we might do that as a break at one point between a topic. It might be worthwhile, but it might annoy a lot of people. Yeah, we're doing it. We're definitely doing it. And I enjoyed being on with Ragnar on Sunday. And if you're about any time you want me on, just let me know. And I'll see what I can do. So yeah, we're all good. I really genuinely don't know what to play. I don't know what to play. Just sing a song, right? Let's not go there. Any good singers, they can jump up and sing us out. Take it away! Sing us out, right? Hey, I kind of think I'm not the worst at singing, but I think all Scottish people think that. They're like, yeah, great singer. I know a lot of good singers in Scotland. Me, probably not. Probably not, right? I can't find anything that's sort of neutral. So maybe I'll just play the next files. Or is there any request? Does anybody want to put a music request? It's like old school radio now. What was about Lockerbie? It's 1988 radio. And I'm your host. Yeah, I guess it's could you call it podcasting? I don't know, man. Podcasting to me, you wouldn't be sharing like stuff on the screen. Do you know, like even Joe Rogan? I don't know if you could call. I wouldn't call that a podcast. A podcast's more like a radio show where it's audio and you would listen to it like I don't know, walking the dog or at the gym or something like that. But everything seems to just get deemed podcasting now. It's like, yeah, podcast. And they're everywhere as well. Honestly. Yeah, even since like 2019 and now, it's been like tenfold. And more people becoming more aware as to the workings of the world and what might be going on. And that's been interesting to see. Because the amount of people now, it's like, fucking hell. And that's one I kind of never seen it coming. Or did I? I mean, we knew about the Great Reset. The question early on was kind of how far are they going to go? And we did say it looks like every single thing that we know is up for the chop and to be what they call reset. And I did say early on, if that's the case, it's going to be Hollywood, politics, you name it, the whole lot is going to be reset and reborn. Hooray! Maybe not hooray. And I think I think we're gradually heading that way. And I know there's people out there who they think that Trump might be and Musk even might be a good guy. I don't know how mistaken people can be. I mean, there were bad people before they were political. Now they're politicians. Fuck. Do we really need to go there? Do we need to go there? How many times can people be fooled? That's a question, right? How many times? Because, hey, they kind of got me twice in terms of the political world. Going back to 2014, Scottish independence referendum, and even a wee bit 2016, because I voted in the Brexit referendum. And then I began to learn a lot more. And I thought, you know what? They fucking fooled me again. And it was at that point I began to think, do you know what? You fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, man. Shame on me. And it was at that point on I said, look, never again. Never again will they get my vote. They will not get it. I will not enable no longer this corrupt system, man. Why enable it? Why give them the power? And I always notice this as well. People that don't vote, they're very few and far between. Probably quite a few here, to be fair, but you'll get people who they do vote, right? But they'll blame people who don't vote. Oh man, that honestly, that cracks me up something chronic. That, man. I mean, wait, what? So the people who vote, if it doesn't work out, they'll blame the people who don't vote, like it's their fault, right? Like it's their fault. And that is I've seen that quite a lot. But anybody who doesn't vote as well, within their right to not vote. And I certainly have got the utmost respect to people who have said, look, no, I'm not doing it. And I tried to make a point at the last election where I got my ballot and I walked out. I took my ballot. I wonder if that would be deemed stealing private property. But then again, it's my ballot. Going to get arrested now. Knock on the door. So I just thought, right, I'll take it. I actually exchanged it. So what I done was I went in, but before I went in, I got a piece of paper and I wrote down, what did I write again? Oh man, for the life of me, I can't remember what I wrote. What was it? It was like a smart comment about the system. Bugger. That's annoying, that. For all the good it was, right? So I exchanged it for a blank piece of paper and wrote on that what I thought. I'm sure it was about the system and it being corrupt. But it was short and sweet. I remember that. So you can imagine, right? And I walked out with the ballot in my pocket, and when I got home, I set it on fire. And I posted it on my YouTube. And it was a wee bit of I don't know. It was like, look, I can do it. So can you, sort of attitude. Because I know, I mean, I decided after 2014 I was done, but then I still got roped in 2016. So I know a lot of people out there, they struggle to let go of this, no, my vote counts attitude, and I must vote attitude. It's ingrained in their brain, man. And even though election after election, robbed, mugged, duped, a victim, time and time again, and they still vote. They still do it, man. They still do it. They just simply will. Oh, but this time, right? Oh, and if we get this guy in, oh, he's going to change it. Look, he's changing it. Yeah. Stuff can get changed. That does happen. People can come in, and it's happened throughout the years with several different politicians. They'll come in, they'll do a few good things. It looks quite good, looks quite rosy. But then in the background, it ain't looking good. And someone mentioned, and I think they were pretty spot on, they talked about how, I think there's been talk about Trump and Musk and Kennedy, the A-team. There's been talk about the A-team bringing in new mRNA juice. Hooray! Three cheers. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, we don't like that, do we? No, but it's Musk and it's Trump, so they're good guys. So it must be good. It must be good, right? So they'll let it slide. But had it been Biden and his cronies that done it, different story. It would have been a different story. There would have been a lot to have been said about this so-called mRNA. So you can see how they work. We all get played off each other, and the only thing that continues is the agenda. And people have been saying, look, he's came in, he's done this and he's done that. A school kid could have done it. A school kid could have done it. A school kid could have came in and said, look, a man's a man, a woman's a woman, keep men out of fucking women's sport, keep women out of men's sport, and just enough with the absolute fucking mayhem. Oh, and also stop paying money to people who are dead. Oh, and how about this? Audit certain contracts. Might that not be a good idea? I mean, it is the simplest of things, but because we are so far down Shit's Creek, it's like a miracle has occurred to a lot of people. But in reality, we've got nowhere. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, just sort of wrapping that up. I like to think I'm a genuine, open and honest sort of, yeah, I'm open to be challenged and to have my mind, I don't know, changed maybe, right? But, I mean, I don't know. You know, the one thing about the world that we're in, time always tells. Time will tell. And Trump ain't going to be about as president forever. So when the day does come, those people who think Trump's a good guy today, let me know then if you still think he is. I mean, I've never liked him since fucking 2010 because of the golf course in Scotland. We hated him first, but it's never been anything it's been personal reasons rather than anything political or anything like that. I mean, the guy's he's straight out of an entertainment world like Hollywood, and people they fall for it. They completely fall for it, and I kind of feel sorry for folk because they're going to be let down. They're going to be let down, I'm afraid. Let's see. Yeah, we're pretty much wrapping up. Has dark in the hood. You can say that again. Yeah, I didn't want to. I mean, we're almost at 3 hours anyway, so I tried to start it earlier and get as much done. But I wanted to get this out the way, and we've got the 3 of them in a kind of block series in terms of Lockerbie, and we might come back to it. Well, we will come back to it. In regards to time, I'm unsure because as of next week, we go into we travel to the moon on Monday, so that should be fun, right? There'll be no anger. Yeah. Hey, I can try to not get angry. So, and yeah, someone, like I said, someone on Telegram put part 1 and part 2 together, and it's like, oh man, what have I done? What have I done? Some poor bugger's gonna watch that. Wait, how many hours? 6, nearly 7. So fair play, good on them. I don't know if they're, I don't know. Again, you'll need a supercomputer to put part 3 on, but yeah, the 3 parts probably worth watching over time together if you've got any interest in Lockerbie. And again, like we said, we'll come back to it in the near future. It'll be Apollo and NASA on Monday. And we might knock that one out the park in terms of 3 or 4 streams, max, probably 4. So good to see Stephen in the hood, and thank you for the engagement before. We don't get many comments after the stream, but we did on, when was it? We did last time, so make sure you comment, right? And like it and subscribe it. God's sake. I have to tell people. If you liked it, please subscribe. And do all them things. And oh yeah, click the bell. Right? Send the love, click the bell. Because people don't do that. In fact, it's been just finally, I guess, maybe. I was looking back over. It was because of that video that came up on Twitter from 2020. And I was looking back over that. Now, 2020, December 2020, the channel probably had about 2 maybe 1,000 subscribers. And I was putting out videos, and within a day or two, 100 likes, 600, 800 views. Another video, 90 likes, 100 likes, 6,000, it's not 6,000, 600, 1,000, 800 views. Another one, 800, and then just continuing to grow and grow, 110 likes, and on and on and on. And I said it before, the channel, because it got terminated, it basically got wiped off the map and was just completely gone. For some reason, a lot of people just completely disappeared. I mean, the channel lay dormant for, I think it was 7 months. It was just gone. But when I got it back, nobody was there. Nobody was there, man. And it's kind of like, what the hell happened there? Because these people, surely they never just completely disappeared. And when I think about it, it's like, fucking hell, were they even people? Was it like bots and AI bots? I don't know, like fucking. Do you know how you get on Twitter? They're seemingly they're not real people. I was thinking, is that the same on YouTube? Because honestly, I've got screenshots of it, of the videos. The channel, I think it was just over a year old at the time. And it was doing better then than it does today, 5 years later. Of course, terminated twice. But honestly, when I came, everybody was gone apart from a small group of complete and utter hardcore, loyal to the cause, genuine people. The rest just gone. And it's quite funny because I think, fucking hell, you sometimes wonder, what do we really know in terms of even who you're interacting with online? Strange. I mean, you could probably say, well, YouTube put you in a very bottom of the pile. So I got put to the bottom of the pile twice. On the naughty step, the naughtiest step twice. So, hey, we know the game that we're in. We keep going. It is what it is at the end of the day. We know all about YouTube, owned by Google, owned by Alphabet, pretty much BlackRock, shock horror. I mean, they're not people you'll be going on a picnic with. Put it that way. Did we get any requests for a tune? I don't think we did. The Trinity, was that a request? The world is a stage. Was that a request? No requests. So that's the radio shows. We've binned it already. Late night radio. We're not too bad time, so I'm happy enough. Good to see Frank in the hood. It's good to get a laugh, that's for sure. Just play something. Just fucking play it right. I want to cook my supper here. Honestly. Frank's getting annoyed. Good to see you, Frank. I think Davina, always a pleasure. I hope you're doing well. No, I'm not singing myself. Don't get me started. And cheers to everyone over on X. Davina, good to see you. Frank, Ulick in the hood. I hope you're doing well. Ulick and Joni, good to see you. Stephen as well. I hope you're doing good. Hasdak. Frank, the information tank, lie to me. Ross, always a pleasure. Mark of Oz, the Wizard of Oz. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Norman, all the way in South Africa. I hope you're doing well. A pleasure to see you. Linda as well, all the way down under. We're right across the world, man. Global. Should I say that? We're across the board. We're right across the board, which is quite astonishing. That astonished me early on. I thought, okay, now wait, some guy in Timbuktu is listening. Nigeria, clearly lost, right? Maybe that's the case. Yeah. So the channel's been on some journey. Where it goes, nobody knows, man. It's in YouTube's hands. It's seemingly in line to be terminated. Oh, Charles as well. Thanks, Charles, for joining. And Moore as well. Twilight of Moore. Much appreciated. Tried to say cheerio to everyone there. And shit, what was I saying? Something about the channel. I forgot what I was saying. But yeah, it is what. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It's yeah, I've still not heard back from Google about it. It could be getting terminated. I don't know. It's like the threat is lingering. So, and it's interesting because the same thing happened to my That's Life But Not As We Know It Facebook around about similar times as well. Both them are earmarked to be permanently removed. And I've been restricted. I can't post links on, even in my own video descriptions, even though I can still put up videos. I'm not allowed to post links. I'm not allowed to post. I'm not allowed to go live on Facebook, even though I can still post videos and pictures and do pretty much everything else. So I'm a bit unsure as to what the situation is, but we're on the blacklist, put it that way. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. I enjoy creating the content. I'll keep creating it. It genuinely does not matter where it is. I'll still keep doing it. It's never been about it has to be a certain place or it has to be lots of views and thousands of people watching and what have you. It's never the case and it never will be. We'll work with whatever we're lucky enough to get. And I've been blessed with the people that have been and engaged. At least the people that I know are real. Let's not go there, right? So great to see everyone. We'll hang in there, Davina, and we're already, because we're used to it. I mean, terminated twice and back twice. It's kind of unheard of, to be honest. I wonder if anybody else has done that. We might have been the first in history, or the first ever in history, to be in such a strange kind of position. But we've set up elsewhere to keep going. So if the day ever does come, I'll keep going elsewhere, and it'll be up to anybody else or any of the bots if they want to come and join. If they want to come and join, right? But it is what it is. So we keep going, and I still enjoy it, and I've got a lot of time for the bots. I mean the people in the hood. So it's good to see everyone, and I'll try and keep you updated. I mean, if it gets pulled, it's I can't put a post saying it got pulled. Well, I can on an X, and Facebook might let me post. But yeah, I kind of get the feeling they've been. I don't know. It's like they don't. I can't live stream on Facebook, and I'm restricted on YouTube. And it was kind of at the same time, a bit like a move on their part where, I don't know, maybe we're hitting a few nerves here and there. We're annoying a few people, which would mean we're on the right track, right? So just a short kind of outro. What? Oh yeah. So no fear, keep going, do what you're gonna do. Nobody gets in your way. Nobody. Get out there, enjoy yourself. Do what you want to do. Right? Honestly, nobody gets in your way, man. Nobody. And like I always say, no matter what, no matter where, do not comply. And that is about it. Bye-bye.
Find absolutely no reason why anyone would think you crazy if you describe this meeting of ours.
You're feeling very sleepy, very relaxed. Alex Trebek, the game show host?